Hi, it's Luke from 1WD TV, where you can learn to make money with Divi. In the previous lesson, we started creating this overlay effect by adding the peach overlay, which transitions on hover over our background column image. The white borders have been styled by using the pseudo elements before and after. These pseudo elements allow us to insert content before or after our overlay div. First, let's set the opacity of our overlay to 1 so we can see what's happening. To use a pseudo element, we write the name of our class followed by 2 semicolons and in this case, before. We then need to use the property content followed by 2 quotation marks. In this instance, it's only necessary to include the content property. We don't need to put anything inside it. In order to create the border animation, we will use the before pseudo element for the top and bottom border and the after pseudo element for the left and right. We still can't see our border, but this will be fixed by positioning the element absolutely. If we look at our example, we can see that the borders are 20 pixels from the top and 30 pixels from the left and right. By setting the top and bottom property, we are pushing the borders away from the edge by the specified amount. Again, just like our example, we want our borders to grow to their correct size when we hover over the column. So in the default state, with no hover, we want the width of our border to be 0. For this, we will use the transform property, setting the first parameter for width at 0. Finally, let's use the transition property for the animated effect. Now we want to set the hover state. So first, the class of our column width with the pseudo class hover, followed by our overlay with the pseudo element before. We want to transform the width of the border by a factor of 1 so it returns to its original size. Now if we hover over the column, the border will grow. Let's repeat the process using the after pseudo element for the left and right border and reverse the parameters of the transform property. Now onto the text inside our column. Insert a text module, add some content and a little styling. And give the text module a custom CSS class of peach overlay text. Save and exit, update the page, refresh. Since we only want this to show on hover, we will set the opacity in the default state to 0. Give it a z-index of 1 so that it appears on top of the overlay, and set the positioning to absolute. Finally, in the hover state, set the opacity to 1. If you enjoyed this tutorial and want to learn more, come and check us out over at 1WD.TV.